So just turn the wheel so I can get access to these back bolts. 17 millimeter for the caliper, 21 millimeter for the bracket. 21 mil for the brackets. And then we'll take the rotor off. These are getting new rotors. Sometimes they stick on there, so if you need, you just beat it off. We want to clean off our hub surface really well. Get any rust and stuff like that off of it. These look really good. Spray them with some. So got the rotor on. I can't remember if I told you about that, but there's a protective coating they put on the rotors just for storage. So you just take some brake clean and a clean rag, get that all off. And then the hub, you can put like an anti-seize or some kind of anti-rust. I like using fluid film because it's quick. I do a lot of brake jobs, so it's just spray it on, slap the rotor on, and you're done. But either way, that prevents the rotor from getting rusted to the hub. All right, so the caliper now, there's a bolt here that holds on the main line. If we just unbolt it, we're going to drip a lot of brake fluid. So to make it easier, now you can do that, but to make it easier, we're going to clamp off the line. So they make a little line lock. Let me go grab one and we'll lock the line, and then that'll minimize the amount of brake fluid we lose. 14 millimeter. See, hardly anything drips out of it. So this banjo bolt will have 2 copper washers that we'll want to pull off, and those will get replaced. This is a core. We could drain it. It'll make the part store a little happier if it's not chock full. Oh, in fact, they give you a new banjo bolt in this kit, so that's great. We'll use that. They give you new brake hardware if you need it. All right, we can put our brake hardware on. Hardware typically only goes on one way. All right, so it slides in. So now our bracket is good to go. The caliper bracket bolts did have anti-seize on them. The manual doesn't say to reapply anti-seize, but anytime I see anti-seize on a bolt, I tend to put anti-seize back on it. Either way, these are torqued to 122 foot-pounds when the time comes. Now I always mark them once they're torqued in case I get sidetracked. I don't have to guess if I've done it already or not. Alright, so now the caliper, we'll take this little thing out of the way. We'll insert this plug into the old one so that fluid doesn't get all over our parts, guys. Got to treat them right. Got our banjo bolt ready and our 2 copper washers. One will go on ahead of time and the other we'll hold off for now. First we'll put our brake pads on, and then I'll put the caliper on, bolt it up, and then we'll put our line on. So these are ambidextrous. It doesn't matter which one goes inside, which one goes outside. Now we can put our caliper on. So then our line can go on. So the copper washer that's on the bolt, that's for this top. But we still need the washer to go in between the bottom and the caliper. So we'll put our bolt in with our washer on through the top like that. And then we'll put the washer underneath on the bolt. And that'll be our underside. And then we'll thread it on. Sure not to cross thread. Before you take it off, look at how it goes back on. It can only go back on one way, and it'll feel right when it goes back on. Being sure to keep it all clean so we don't get any grit, because that could prevent the washer from sealing all the way. There we go. Our banjo bolt is 26 foot-pounds, and then our 2 caliper bolts are 53. And if during the process you notice a little leak, you can go a little more torque to see if that leak will seal up. But if there's a leak, then we'll have to replace those washers and try again. So now we're ready to bleed the brakes. We'll go ahead and just loosen up our bleeder. So this is a trick an old wise mechanic showed me. If you have a hose and a bottle, and you put the hose in the bottle with a little fluid, and then the hose just goes onto your bleeder, with the bleeder cracked, I can go inside, push on the brake pedal, fluid will come out, but air cannot get sucked back in. So we'll go ahead and open up our line. I'm going to go inside, pump the brakes, bleed the system. Another way you could do it is if you have a partner, they go inside, pump the brakes until it's firm, crack the bleeder, the fluid will come out, close the bleeder when the fluid stops, pump the brake, crack the bleeder, close the bleeder, pump the brake, do that over and over. I work by myself, so this system is perfect. Always make sure you have enough fluid up in the reservoir. All right, close the bleeder when you're done. Pop it off. A lot of places will let you recycle your old brake fluid, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, so now what I like to do is just pump the brakes really hard, get all that pressure until the brake pedal is really hard, and just smash on it and just double check for leaks.